Welcome to another edition of Mastering the Math of Business with Lauren Young. Today we're going to be discussing a subject that I really enjoy. I enjoy doing this with clients, and I enjoy appreciating its power as I see clients get hold of the concept here. And the concept is around the pulse of your business. It has to do with the rhythm and strength of the cash flowing through your business. It's a function of routine and rhythm within a business, particularly within the management team. Think of it in terms of a physical. Earlier this week, I had a physical. In addition to checking my oxygen levels, taking my temperature, checking my blood pressure, they also checked my pulse. They checked my pulse to gauge how healthy my heart is. What they were looking at is the rhythm of pulsating blood through my arteries with each heartbeat. What I found interesting about this particular physical is they also checked my ankles, the pulse flowing through my legs into my feet. They did that to gauge how healthy my heart is based on the rhythmic flow of my blood through my major arteries. A business pulse is something very similar to a human pulse in that it's a measure of the rhythm and strength of the cash flowing through a business. And it's particularly shaped by how frequent that cash is flowing and how strong it is as measured by profits, specifically gross profit. A weak pulse in business is the failure to pump enough cash with too high of costs. In other words, a business will have a very weak pulse indicating the potential of cardiac arrest when that pulse is erratic, it's slowed, and it's weak. So the thought that I wish to seed right here at the beginning has to do with routine and rhythm. One of the things I always appreciate about athletes is athletes have a routine. They have an off-season routine they follow. They have an in-season routine they follow. They have days in between a game and the next game that they do the same things over and over again to build muscle memory, to maximize their strength and cardiovascular capability so that they can perform at their highest. Businesses that make more money do the same thing. They have routines within their management teams particularly that they follow through the course of a month, and they're scheduled at very routine increments so that they can stay on top of the business. This is an example of two big ideas that I like to bring to clients, and that is the introduction of routines for the management team through the course of a month, and rhythm. In other words, these meetings are at the same time, the same day every week, so that there's no question what we're about to discuss, so that people can come into these meetings prepared and ready. It's about positioning the management team to lead the business to produce the results it's targeted to produce. Look at it from a math perspective. A business that has a weak cash inflow, in other words, things are not coming in to cover the costs. In other words, their sales aren't generating sufficient profits to meet their financial obligations as a business that's got real challenges. Here's a scenario involving a client. These are the results of their business last month. In fact, they had a really good sales month. Their sales came in 4% higher than planned. The problem is those higher sales generated 24% less gross profit than they planned. That's a $500,000 cash inflow shortfall at profit. So what did that mean? Well, the contribution was less than planned. The bank balance, the beginning bank balance for the month, for the next month is less than planned. AR is less than planned. The good news here is this client's AP was less than planned. So when you look at all of those elements, this business, because they allowed their direct costs to increase 24% higher than what they planned them to be, now have to find $757,000 to make up for that operating inefficiency. And so with that, consider the inputs to being able to do this math. First of all, you just need to know 5 things. You need to know your net sales and your gross profit, planned and actual. And then what did you expect your bank balance to be? Your accounts receivable and your accounts payable. This is your ending. So with regards to that, here we have what they planned for and what they actually got. There's no conditions, no additional assumptions or anything. It's just these raw numbers. And then there's a little bit of math associated. One of the things you want to appreciate is how much the sales grow. Here it's 4%. What did you plan gross profit to be, and what was it? Here it was actually 6%. This was a tough month to be able to convert those sales into profits. That means they lost 24 points in gross profit. That cost them $575,000. And then you look at the deltas between planned and actual, and that gets you down to the shortfall, this $757,000 shortfall. That's a challenge. And part of the reason this is a challenge is this particular client hasn't bought into the discipline of more routine and rhythm. You've got an owner here who does a lot of individual heroics. He is a hard worker, but he doesn't pull his management team together as a unit to work collaboratively in managing the business, particularly as it relates to their exposure on direct costs. He keeps the overhead really low, but the direct costs he can have months where that breaks him. So in other words, he's now got a hole he's got to dig out of. And that's the difference between this client and those that make more money. Those that make more money have disciplined routines in their business. They've got rhythm to their business. They aren't just bouncing from one problem to the next. In other words, they don't do a lot of firefighting that causes them to waste time and money. They've got discipline incorporated into what they do and how they do it. And that's the concept of routine and rhythm associated with Business Pulse. Research has proven that businesses that have cash problems are businesses without controls in place to ensure that what's happening is what they planned or expected to have happened. If you want to appreciate just how easy it is to introduce routine and rhythm into your business so that you can have a healthier and stronger business pulse, go to business-cpr.com/scheduler, and you can schedule an appointment to talk with us about how you can quickly implement routine and rhythm into your business so that things happen at a higher profit rate and with more consistency than what's happening for you today. Again, the problem is if you're not looking at the health of your cash flow, similar to the way you do through a physical to look at the health of your body, you're going to find yourself in too many situations where you're out of sync. In other words, your cash flow inflow isn't sufficient to cover your cash outflows. That's a management problem. And so when you have this cycle not working the way it should be, you have a pulse problem. And that pulse is affected by the actions of the management team and the decisions they make. Again, thank you for tuning in to another edition of Mastering the Math of Business with Lauren Young. If you found this video to be helpful, likes are always appreciated. The call to action is really simple. Put some routine and rhythm into your week. Start there. And as you do that, you will start to experience better results, which will translate into what? It'll translate in higher profits and cash reserves in the bank. That's how you attain financial freedom through your business.